Welcome back to Epic News, guys. My name is Alex Hune, and today we're going to be covering Legions Imperialis, Your Burning Questions Answered. So we're going to go through and read this article. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts and opinions on this, as well as a little bit of advice that I have on one of the talking points. I'd also like to say, right before we start this article, to subscribe if you want to hear more Legions Imperialis news and see tutorials and battle reports when this game comes out, as I will be making all that content on my channel, One Up Painting. All right, so let's get into this article. Warhammer: The Horus Heresy, Legions Imperialis has been revealed, and the community is absolutely alight with questions, and we've got answers. Will we ever see Warhammer 40k factions? Legions Imperialis is a new game in which is set firmly in the era of the Horus Heresy, letting you recreate the biggest and bloodiest battles fought in the Civil War that set the galaxy aflame. There is no plans to expand this game into Warhammer 40k at the moment. Can I use my Adeptus Titanicus and Aeronautica Imperialis models? Yes, you can. Every Titan and Knight currently available for Adeptus Titanicus is in, including the upcoming plastic Direwolf Heavy Scout Titan. A good portion of the Aeronautica Imperialis range is in it too, with Space Marine and Imperial Navy flyers standing by for strafing runs. This being set in the game of the Horus, or this being a Horus Heresy era game, Xenos aircraft from Aeronautica Imperialis range will be sitting this one out. Additionally, as the Astra Militarum of the 41st millennium wasn't an entity during the Horus Heresy, Vulture gunships, Valkyrie assault carriers, and Vendetta assault carriers will not be a part of the game. They will be leaving the range soon. So if you want a fleet of tiny Xenos and Astra Militarum aircraft to call your own, pick them up now. So we went over this portion of these being made, our last chance to buy, yesterday in yesterday's video. As for the Space Marines, we know all the Space Marine craft and the Imperial Navy will be available to purchase and play for the upcoming game. What's with those new bases? Units in Legions Imperialis have a new, thinner style of base. As the miniatures are much smaller, a classic Warhammer deep dish base would create infantry squads on weird little plateaus. The new base also have detailing on them to represent the ruins of the 31st millennium cityscape. They are circular with a 25 millimeter diameter, and they are designed to fit in a firing vantage points on top of our epic scale buildings. So this little part here on top of the epic scale buildings, that is a reference to their new terrain that they have. And they showed off a little bit of that terrain in an article a few days ago. And I'll put a picture of that up on screen right now. There will also be new bases for Titans and aircraft to match this style. Tanks, as a rule, don't have bases in Legions Imperialis. Do I have to rebase my Titans? No, you don't need to if you don't want to. An Adeptus Titanicus base will be perfectly usable in Legions Imperialis. For aircraft, it's up to you. But we believe the Aeronautica Imperialis bases might be a bit immersion breaking, so we'd suggest that you pop them on a Legions Imperialis base for games using this system. All right. Will the Adeptus Titanicus and Aeronautica Imperialis still be supported? Adeptus Titanicus and Aeronautica Imperialis are both fantastic games that dig into the intricacies of the specific forms of combat they represent. Legions Imperialis is designed to represent a massive combined arms battle on all fronts, and its rules for aircraft and Titans are more streamlined. Support for Adeptus Titanicus and Aeronautica Imperialis in the heresy settings only will continue as you continue to play these games alongside this exciting new epic scale game. So yesterday we also kind of covered that in their little article that they had about Aeronautica Imperialis, where they're saying only the rule book for like the heresy models are going to like be relevant anymore. But I mean like, of course, if you have the other books, you can still play with like the Xenos models. It's totally up to you. How is Legions Imperialis different from Adeptus Titanicus? It's very different. While both games use the same Titan miniatures to play, the play experience is worlds apart. Adeptus Titanicus is a detailed game of Titan control in which players have to. Oh my goodness. Adeptus Titanicus is a detailed game of Titan control in which players have to carefully pilot their god machines and balance limited resources with risk. Legions Imperialis is about grand strategy. You are playing a distant commander directing huge armies, titans, and powerful assets, but the nuisance of engine reactor control and shield maintenance are left up to others. You have a war to win. So, yeah, they're just saying it's different. What will epic scale models be made of? The majority of Legions Imperialis units are completely plastic kits, just as in Age of Darkness, Adeptus Titanicus, and Aeronautica Imperialis. Certain niche units and upgrades may be made in Forge World resin. So again, just like the standard 40k and Horus Heresy, majority in plastic, niche in resin, niche as in characters, very specialized units, things of that nature. Which factions will be supported? Right out of the gate, there will be releases for and armies. Right out of the gate, there will be releases and army lists supported for the Space Marine Legions and Solar Auxilia. These will remain in the initial faction or the initial focus of the game, but as time goes on, Legions Imperialis will expand into some of the more esoteric factions that participated in the Horus Heresy. But won't you know it, we can't say which ones yet. Well, that's pretty easy to say which ones are coming if it's going to be in Horus Heresy. It's going to be Adeptus Custodes, Sisters of Silence, Dark Mechanicum potentially, but definitely those two. They're going to be the Talons of the Emperor. All right, what else? Are there more models coming? You betcha. As alluded in the reveal article, plenty more miniatures are in the pipeline for Legions Imperialis, with the first wave arriving within weeks of the launch box. We'll be starting excuse me, will be starting with those units common to all Space Marine Legions and Solar Auxilia forces, rather than Legion-specific specialists. So this confirms Legion-specific specialists will be coming eventually. For those units might be like the Ebon Keshik for the White Scars, or like Noise Marines for the Emperor's Children, units like that. When can I buy an epic scale Primarch? Wouldn't that be something? They're just being vague about it. I'm sure epic Primarchs will be coming in the future because everyone loves Primarchs. Everyone loves little tiny Warhammer models. So they're going to just be printing off cash at that point once they make those Primarchs. And I'm sure they're going to be in resin too. Has the scale changed since Epic 40k? Sort of. Your classic Epic games of yesteryear had a fairly inconsistent scale. Tanks, infantry, and titans were only roughly proportionally in line with each other. Legions Imperialis, on the other hand, is far more consistent. Infantry is the same size in relation to vehicles as their larger Warhammer, the Horus Heresy, Age of Darkness equivalent miniatures would be. Generally speaking, the new models are much more detailed and a little bigger. This is a great picture here too. Did I spot some new terrain in that photo? We think you did, yeah. So as we can see, I believe that some of these pipes here were used in Titanicus, but I think that this like energy generator type thing is completely new. And this base plate here, where it's like a city street, I've never seen this before in anything. So I do hope that we can get our hands on something like that, as I think that's super cool. Can I use my old epic miniatures? If you like, over the course of Warhammer history, there have been more than a handful of games that feature small tanks and even smaller infantry battling between the legs of skyscraping titans. If you have these older models in your collection and want to use them, we'd suggest that you discuss it with your opponent before the game, so you're all clear on what each model represents. Yeah, so they're saying, yeah, you can proxy in some older models. Just make sure it's cool with your opponent. That also goes to a point that I'd like to mention about using some of the Aeronautica Imperialis models, such as like if you want to use an Eldar Titan, or not Titan, like Flyer, go ahead and use it, man. Just make sure that your opponent is clear on what the rules that you're going to be using it are, or like proxying it in as. It's because at the end of the day, this is a game, this is a hobby. It's all meant to have, like, we're all meant to have fun in this game. So I don't see why you couldn't use it. Maybe not at a tournament, but how big is a game? The bigger, the better. And you can theoretically play a game of Legion Imperialis with a handful of troops and tanks, but that's not exactly what it's for. You'll get the best experience with vast armies, where the action of one squad, tank, or even a Titan are just cogs in a vast picture. In most games, you'll ideally be playing for 1,000 or be looking for 100 plus playing pieces on the table. So they want it to be huge, huge scale, which makes sense because that's the whole point of Epic. Is there a full army in the launch box? The launch box contains a mighty force, but by the standards of Legions Imperialis, it is a relatively small army. As with most core sets, the armies in Legions Imperialis represent a great starting point for a collection. However, in this game, it's all about enormous armies clashing in truly momentous conflicts. You can and should ally the Space Marines, including fielding troops from several legions at once, and Solar Auxilia when mustering a truly mighty force. But for maximum effect, you'll definitely want to add units from the additional releases slated for the autumn. So, two things are very prominent in this. One, they restate autumn. So that's really cool that they're saying like, yes, it will be coming out on this in this time. Uh, the second is they are highly encouraging the combined arms force, saying, yeah, use Titans, use Space Marines, use Auxilia, all in one army. And that's something that's not really encouraged in Big 40K or Heresy. So I think that that's very cool to see that encouraged here. Should I split the box with a friend or keep it all for myself? Only you can answer that. You certainly could split the contents and create a face-off between Space Marine Legion and Solar Auxilia Force, but on the other hand, you could ally these forces as a part of a larger army. Most bigger armies in Legions Imperialis will have elements from multiple factions: Space Marines, Solar Auxilia, Titan, Knights, aircraft, and more, representing the combined arms might of the traitor or loyalist war machine. That's all we have time for today. Act fast if you want to buy the Xenos aircraft or unsupported Astra Militarum units for Aeronautica Imperialis. You will still be able to enjoy the game with your existing collections, but support for the model specific to Warhammer 40k setting will be ceasing soon, and the relevant miniatures will be coming off sale. That's nice. They put a little, hey, buy these guys fast right now if you still want them at the end. Yeah, so I think that that's all for this article. A few recap points is Aeronautica Imperialis, not all of the models are going to be usable, as we've already known. Adeptus Titanicus models, you don't have to rebase. Planes, you might want to rebase them, but you don't have to. Some stuff will be in resin eventually. The autumn release date is confirmed. It's like been double confirmed now. New terrain is coming, and combined arms is encouraged in this. So yeah, I think those are the main points. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Epic News will be back tomorrow with another article. So stay tuned and subscribe if you want to hear more news. I'm Alex Hune, and thank you for watching.